So the tiny habit method, maybe some of you have heard about it. There's also another great book. So BJ Fogg is the guy who studied the tiny habit method, but there's also a guy called James Clear, the book is Atomic Habits. I'll type it in here. Probably one of the best books I have found just in general. Maybe some of you already have read it, but Atomic Habits, best book when it comes to change, anything that you're looking for. By the way, I remember the guy's name, Dr. Peter Attia. Take what you wish from his studies. They are, he has some things that are a little bit extreme, but overall, he delivers a very good messaging about aging gracefully and living longer in a more quality way. So Dr. Attia's work is very good in that sense. Before I forget his name again, so that's him. But anyway, back to the tiny habit method. So the tiny habit method is helping us make a change in a way that is easy. So what that means is getting really, really tiny. And Miller, you asked me earlier, how easy is it for some people to make a change? Is it like a trick that we need to create? So here's where, if you are somebody who are like super anti-change, you're like, I've tried everything, nothing is working, but you haven't tried the tiny habit method, this might be it. So tiny habit method basically states that you take whatever behavior you want to change, let's say career change, right? So on average in the US, it takes 3 to 6 months to find work, right? So in any typical market, 3 to 6 months on average to land a job. The 3 to 6 months depends on what you do every week, every day, every month, and so on. So with every day, every week, every month, there needs to be a set of behaviors, certain things that you have to do towards a career change, or maybe growing in your leadership role. So there needs to be a behavior, something you do. So what it means here is breaking it down to not have this change of careers be overwhelming. What you want to do is you say, you know what, I'm going to spend, maybe I need to spend, let's say, 1 hour a week on reaching out to new people and networking. But that 1 hour a week, for some people, you can do it in 1 hour a week. But if you are so hesitant against changing, there's always an excuse coming up of why you didn't do that 1 hour. What you can do is just 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes, and this was saying 5 minutes a day, you dedicate just 5 minutes, but every day, or maybe 5 days a week, whatever schedule you set for yourself, 5 minutes to send 1 connection request, or 2, or however long it takes you to this, or maybe send an email, or maybe look at an event to attend, and so on. So it's creating a mini habit that is so ridiculously tiny. It is so tiny that it's almost like silly to even do it. And so if you're hesitant to change, you can start with just 5 minutes. It usually does wonders to people. Even if all you do for that 5 minutes is you just sit in front of your computer, and maybe you didn't even send a request, maybe you didn't even do it, but you sat on your computer, you opened your LinkedIn, or whatever maybe, whatever social networking you were using for that. And if you do that every day, eventually you're going to send that email. Eventually you're going to do something else, and so on and so on. So that is how you create a new habit. So, and the prompts, which we didn't cover yet, that trigger piece is doing it around the time when you already do something else. So what I mean by that, we're 95% habits, right? 95% of everything that is automated. So there's probably something you do every day that is do or die, it's happening. For me, it's coffee, unless I'm like not feeling well, but I'm having a cup of coffee. So my trigger is when I wake up in the morning, or not in the morning, but when let's say before I start my work day, before I, start whatever tasks I have for the day, I'm going to have my cup of coffee. And then that's a prompt to me to say, okay, now that I have my coffee, let me go do that new behavior. Meaning you tie in this new behavior of reaching out to one person a day, for example, with an existing habit. All right. And what that does is it's like a reminder. It's a prompt. It's like a little reminder for you to say, okay, and some people even use as simple as like sticky notes, whatever floats your boat. So, and that's kind of the tiny habit method. And I'll go into a little bit more depth in it now. And then we're going to move on to the recruiters tips. All right. Let me go in a little bit deeper here. All right. So remember in the beginning when I was talking about Dr. Andrew Huberman's findings, and what he said is that clarifying your goals and tying it emotionally to like, why does this matter, is very important. Most people don't achieve particular goals they've set, whatever change they want to make, is because it's not really that important. Meaning that it might be important because they think it might be the right thing to do, or there's an external factor that's pushing them to do it, but really there's no emotional connection to that thing, to that goal that you want to set. So clarifying your goals is step number one. Always understanding what is it that you're going to, what is this going to give you? What is achieving this thing going to give you? And there's two schools of thoughts on this. So some people are like, you know, I'm going to get this wonderful thing and I'm excited because, you know, I'm going to, I don't know, I'm going to have this positive experience if I do this thing. And for other people, it's the other side. It's like, if I don't do this, something bad is going to happen. So, and so there's two schools of thought. So some people are motivated by the positive result, and some people are motivated by the fact that they're not, that it's going to set them back. So depending on which kind of mindset you fall in, there's no right answers here. Another good way to think about goals and kind of making sure that you do them and testing how important they are to you is something that Tim Ferriss does. I very much like him in his work. And he said, look at what it's going to cost you. So what is it going to cost you if you don't put 5 minutes a day, every day towards job search? Or if you don't, you know, what is it going to cost you a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now? What is it going to cost you if you don't take care of your health today? What is it going to cost you a year from now? What is it going to cost you if you don't start thinking of a career change now? What is it going to cost you if you don't start this certifications now? What is it going to cost you a month from now, 6 months, a year from now, 2 years from now? Literally putting it into columns. And if it's gonna, and usually you're like, uh-oh, if I don't take care of my health now, you know, it's gonna cost me either a lot of money or even worse health problems. You might be motivated, you're like, okay, you might be motivated to do that thing. Or if you say, you know, what is it gonna, you know, if I don't start changing my careers now, what is it gonna cost me a year from now? Or I'm gonna be a year further away from retirement, whatever it may be, just making things up. So what is it going to cost you is one way to check how important that goal is to you. All right, so what's the value there? 2 and 3 kind of go together. So something to keep in mind is that if you are trying to allocate time daily to do some change, and we've already agreed it's hard, if you are trying to allocate some time to do change, and you're allocating that time in a part of your day that you're going to get distracted, then you're just self-sabotaging. Right. So for example, you want to spend 5, 10, 30 minutes, whatever that means to you, right? 5, 10 minutes a day doing stuff for job search or career growth. If you know you're going to get distracted at 8 a.m. because the kids wake up or somebody interrupts you or somebody calls you or you need to take care of somebody, probably not a good idea to do that, right? If there's a high probability of getting distracted. So same thing, lunch, evening, or if you're not an evening person and you're more of a morning person, don't schedule these tasks in the evening, right? And that's what we tend to do. You're like, well, that's when I have the free time. But it's about making time and exploring behavior options that work for you. So making sure you're not interrupted, making sure that you actually have the time, making sure that you can do that behavior because you're at your best space, which is why if you do the 5 to 10 minutes, it's usually not a huge amount of time that even if you're not a morning person and the only time you're going to get something done is if you wake up 30 minutes earlier, should be okay, right? Because we're just asking for that 5 to 10 minutes extra that you need to create space in your day to do that behavior change and matching it with your current lifestyle, right? So again, like if you don't, I don't know, just I'll do an example about the gym. If you, let's say you want to start going to the gym and you're like, I want to go to the gym, I need to be around people, but there's not a gym within, you know, a 10-mile radius within you, and then it's very difficult to get to the gym. Obviously, it's not going to match your current lifestyle. So you say, okay, maybe I'm not going to go to the gym, maybe I'm going to do it on the YouTube at home. So start small. We'll discuss this. I'm not going into detail here. Recognizing obstacles. So again, going back to just understanding, are you going to get interrupted? Is there anything that's going to come on your way? Do you know that usually, I don't know, Thursdays are crazy for you? Maybe don't schedule anything on a Thursday. So really just trying to be proactive versus being on automated pilot and assuming that things are going to go well and you're going to get things done. And then the last one is celebrate. This is where also rewiring happens. once you complete 7 days, let's say you tick a box, like on the right-hand side of the slide here, like you have a little Excel sheet, or maybe it's on your calendar, whatever floats your boat. If you see that you've ticked the box and you've done 5 minutes of that thing that you wanted to do, to implement, at the end of that week, tap yourself in the back. Or Daryl said, wins. Yeah, like do a little dance, whatever. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It's just literally just recognizing and saying, wow, like literally just saying to yourself, like, wow, I did this. This is awesome. All these little messages are helping your brain rewire and be more friendly towards this new thing you're forcing it to do, right? But hopefully it doesn't even recognize that you're forcing it, because you're actually tricking it. All right. So this is, again, just one of many methodologies to how change happens, but both James Clear from Atomic Habits and BJ Fogg with the Tiny Habit Method are, it's probably one of the better ones that I've seen, because you can customize it to how you want to. You can start really tiny, and everybody can, and it works for millions and millions of people. So if you don't know where to start, you can try that.